folks, thank you for coming back now to our second podcast. We're excited to have you here again. This is, my name's Len Strickler. I am the co-founder of LS Safe Money and LS Financial Group. And we are going to talk, let's talk safe money. I'm here right now with Rob Hurtig. And Rob is the Vice President of Business Development for Magellan Financial. Rob, welcome. Glad to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah. We've talked about this for a long time. So
yeah.
Glad we got to do this.
So let's talk a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What your role is here, and what do you do?
You know, it's funny. People ask my kids what I do for a living, and they don't know what to say because I do a lot of things.
Okay.
But I guess at a basic level, I work with financial advisors all over the country and independent financial advisors. So not guys with the career shops you see on every corner and you see the commercials for. It's the independents, the guys that have access to a wide array of products that really put the client's needs first, best interest first. But I work with them in a multitude of ways. The first thing is I help them grow their practices. With any business, you need new lifeblood coming in the door. You need new customers. And so financial advisors are no different. They need to see more people. And so we help them put on educational workshops. We do television, we do radio, and we help them accomplish the goal of
kind of what you do for me.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. But there's even more to it. So once I help you get in front of people, I also help you find the right solution for that person, or we assist with that, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So we do that both on the safe side of things with products like index annuities and life insurance, but we also work in the managed money space too.
Okay, yeah. Well, I know you guys have been awesome to us. I mean, really, it's been a great marriage together. And you guys do what you say you're going to do. All right, so we're really excited to be part of the family. Tell me a little bit. What do you see across the country? You're out there with a lot of advisors, and you know kind of what we're about. I'm about safe money. I always talk about let's get you out of the Wall Street casino. Yeah. Okay. Because in retirement you cannot afford to lose money. But what do you seeing across the globe? Like, you guys are international, I guess? I mean, you work internationally.
So we work here in just the United States, but we work all across the United States, and we work with some of the biggest financial practices, independent practices across the country. So the people we work with and do business with are seeing a lot of clients. So to answer that question, I get a pretty good sample size of what's going on in the industry, what people's concerns are, what's on the mind of the consumers. And one thing I see quite often that I think is maybe a challenge for people in your seat is, in our industry, I don't think there's any standard definition of terms, right? Because someone may go to the shop on the corner that's in every town, and they'll say, hey, you're positioned safely, your investments are safe. And then when somebody on my team looks at it, they're anything but safe. They're anything but diverse.
Right.
They might be on the cusp of retirement. They're taking on unnecessary risks that they didn't know that they were taking on. And it's all because of their financial advisor's interpretation of risk.
Right. So there's no, if you go to a doctor or if you go to, other professions, there's a standard, kind of code of conduct, and there's definitions that all make the same, or kind of across the board.
Attorneys, doctors, you have standard definitions that are the same no matter where you go. In our industry, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Risk and safety are all at the discretion of the financial advisor, or where they cut their teeth, where they learn the business.
Right.
These guys that came from wirehouses, the Wall Street guys, their definition of risk and safety is completely different than what you and I, or our parents thought safety and risk were. So it's interesting.
Let's talk about that just a minute. You brought up, our parents. I mean, my grandmother worked for Westinghouse for 42 years, right? And she had a pension. She had Social Security plus a pension.
Yeah.
And she was a pretty happy lady. I mean, she had guaranteed income coming in, right? But it's different now, isn't it? It's a whole different ballgame than our parents.
It's so crazy. You think about that generation. You had to be a complete derelict to fail at retirement.
Yeah, right.
Back then, nobody failed. You had to be so terrible to fail at retirement. And what you said are the reasons why it was successful. First of all, you look at the volume of the stock market prior to 1978 when the 401k was created. The volume of the stock market was here.
Yeah.
And the reason being is I didn't have to take risk with my investments.
Right.
My grandpa used to tell me a story about how he had CDs in the 80s that were paying 17% returns, right?
Incredible.
Well, why would I go take any risk with my money
if
I can get a 17% return in a CD at the bank?
Yeah. What are you getting today?
0.5% maybe if I'm lucky. You know, it's
crazy.
And they're tying up my money for 3 years.
Totally different times.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. You know, something else happened though. You know, when the 401k was created, the majority of Fortune 500 companies had pension plans. Every year that number drops, right? The number of people that have access to a defined benefit plan, a pension plan, it's dwindling, it's diminishing. And so now, with the creation of the 401k, the people that you see every day, they're left to do it on their own. And along the way, they don't get much guidance, right?
Right.
The guy that runs the 401k may come in and bring in bagels or donuts once a year, but he's really not giving them any advice on what to invest in and what's appropriate for them. Yeah. And that's a scary thought. You know, the reason it's scary is there's really 3 phases of retirement, right? When you're young, you can be more aggressive. It's the accumulation phase, right? I can get as aggressive as I want to get because I have time to make up for losses if there is a downturn. Then you get to that retirement red zone, you know, the 5-6 years outside of retirement, and that becomes the preservation stage, you know? You can't afford to lose money at that point. And then once you do retire, you have to create an income stream that lasts you forever because we don't have pensions anymore.
Right, that's right.
And now it's a sheer ledge, right? You can't fall off this ledge because if you do, you don't have the time to make it up.
Right.
So, you know, it's funny. I feel like there's a lot of people that are misinformed. There's a lot of people that have their head in the sand. There's a lot of people that are putting their loyalty to their financial advisor over their own financial success, and it's asinine. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. It's something people don't want to talk about.
Right.
You know?
Right. I mean, you know, you're literally putting your hands, you know, your whole retirement, everything that you have, you know, in your sunset years, everything you worked your whole life for, in the hands of this person who. What did you tell me? 60% of folks, or it's 80%?
So yeah,
it's like, I know you don't want to say this, right? But it's really a true stat.
It is. So I took a course with the American College a few years ago. Oh, it's been 8 or 9 years now. Wow, time flies. But when I took the course, it was around 80% of people that distrusted their financial professional.
Isn't that amazing? And amazing.
If that many people distrust their financial professional, why is it so hard for them to leave these people?
Yeah. It's the craziest thing I've heard.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And what the rationale and the reasoning they use to choose their financial professional. What, it's my son-in-law? Oh, okay. I want the best person. I don't care who it is. Show me the best person. Show me the person that's going to give me the highest probability of success. That's going to keep me informed. And that's another thing I see globally. There's a lot of guys that never talk to their clients after they meet with them. Yeah. It's the client engaging them, not them engaging the client.
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. A lot of the clients I end up picking up, I've never heard from the guy again. You know, he doesn't even call me, and you know, we annually to do a review. I mean, wouldn't you think that, Rob, with that being the way it is, that you would want a second opinion?
You would think so.
I mean, that's got to be.
But you can't get the second opinion from the guy that gave you the first.
No,
opinion.
right.
You can't. And then when you find out that there's a better way to do it that gives you a higher probability of success, you have to be able to emotionally make that change and break that tie and that relationship with that advisor. And it completely blows my mind how people justify and rationalize their decisions when it comes to retirement, because quite frankly, it's not about your financial advisor.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's about you.
Right, and your money. Yeah. And your family security, right? I mean, the whole thing is about you. So, yeah, it's crazy. You know, it's funny, I do a thing on my radio show where I actually say, let's talk about how you're going to divorce your financial advisor. Right?
That's great.
You know, but it's funny because one of the things they'll come back to me and they'll say, Len, I went and I showed my advisor, you know, what you came up with, and they're going, oh my God, annuities, you know, they hate annuities, right? Well, of course, you know, again, we're messing with the rice bowl. They want to keep you in the market because that's how they get paid, right?
And they've taken annuities and they've taken bits and pieces. What people need to realize is there's 4 different types of annuities. There's really 5 when you consider the new hybrid annuities, the buffer annuities. But they're confusing bad parts of variable annuities with annuities like single premium immediate annuities, which nobody uses really anymore. They're talking about stuff that's not around and that nobody uses anymore. And you know, people use variable annuities, but they're trying to mix a variable annuity with an index annuity. And you know, quite frankly, I think, you know, just like there's good doctors and good attorneys and bad attorneys, the same thing applies to financial products. Right. There's good ones and there's bad ones. There's ones that are appropriate for certain people at certain times in life, and there's other things that aren't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
designing it, getting the right design for you. It's
Wall Street has spent a lot of money. We talked about the 401k and pensions going away and 401ks coming around. Well, cable TV got in everybody's living room about the same time, and Wall Street has spent billions and billions of dollars to tell you that the old way of doing things that never failed is bad, and to keep your money in the market. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, right. Well,
I think I've got a pretty good answer.
What is it?
Well, they're collecting fees on it.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to collect fees on it as long as you have that money there.
Right.
And they know that once money goes from the managed money side over to a product like an annuity that's going to create a guaranteed stream of income or that's going to just provide principal protection, they know that that money's never coming back again.
Right.
And they're never going to collect a fee on it again. So that's why they've spent so much money to make sure that you think annuities are bad and you should do them. And for the record, we do everything. We do manage money.
Right.
We've got people that write annuities. I like it all.
Yeah.
If it's appropriate for the person.
We do the same. You know that. I mean, we're not against the market at all.
Yeah.
Okay. All we're saying is a portion of your money needs to be safe, okay? Tom Higna, I've collaborated on a book with Tom called Paychecks and Playchecks, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things Tom talks about, he's an economist, he's a speaker, author, teacher, but he talks about making sure you get that floor covered, folks, that you understand that if you want this as an income goal for retirement, do you have enough income coming in to match this goal, right?
Yeah.
And are there gaps? And if there are gaps, we got to figure out how to fill those gaps, right?
Yeah.
But he says that if you don't have a guaranteed lifetime income in your portfolio, it is not optimized. You have to have a guaranteed lifetime income in that portfolio to make it optimized.
So there's some caveats to that. If you're independently wealthy and you have millions and millions of dollars, it doesn't matter. It's going to be really hard to fail. But I completely agree with you on that. It's
for the majority of folks.
So there's a few different approaches to planning. There's been the systematic free withdrawal approach. They used to call it the 4% rule. 4%. Then there's the flooring approach, and the flooring approach essentially says, I'm going to get guaranteed sources of income that are going to cover my base, my floor. It's going to cover all my basic needs. Right. And then there's the bucket approach, which people don't use as much anymore because the interest rate environments. They used to use guarantees and MIGAs and different ways to do the bucketing approach, and it's not used as much anymore, just kind of because of the environment we're in right now with interest rates.
Right.
But I've always been a huge proponent of the flooring approach. It's why would you not want all your basic needs covered?
Sure. I mean, and you know what they find? People are happier.
Right?
They're happier. They're not worried about the market going up and down. They know it's coming in. They've got everything covered. They can go see the grandkids whenever they want. It's all covered. It's just a beautiful thing.
The systematic free withdrawal approach or systematic withdrawal approach that people have used, the 4% rule, for years and years and years. Every year a new study comes out that says it fails at a higher rate of time.
Yeah.
So why are we still sticking to our guns with this approach? You
know where that's at now? I just saw an article in, I think it was, I can't remember exactly where it was, but they say now, that 4% was William Benning or something.
Yeah,
Benning back in 1994.
He won a Nobel Prize or something off of it, right?
Right, and it was theorized.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a theory, right? But here's the thing: they're saying now that it's probably about 2.8%. He had this thing, it was 4%. If you took 4% of your money out, withdrew 4%, and you had a 40% stocks and bonds, that you would make it the rest of your life.
Based on average returns to the market.
To the market. Right. They're now saying it's probably 2.8%, somewhere in there.
I believe it started out as the 5% rule.
Oh, did it?
I think so. I don't think it was the 4% rule to start out with. I think that's even dropped.
Yeah. So it's much lower now. It's much lower.
I'll have to fact check myself on that. But I'm pretty sure I'm right about it.
So times have changed. Everything's changed.
They have. See, you're leaving it up to chance then.
Yeah.
So where that becomes a real bad problem. You think about the early 2000s. You've been doing this for a while. Remember 01, 02, 03, what happened?
I was there in the middle of that whole thing, that tech bubble. Oh my gosh.
3 years in a row.
Yeah.
So, for people that are listening and watching this, there's something called the sequence of returns event. Yeah. And everybody's going to lose money, but what impacts, what has the biggest impact on it is when I lose that money.
Correct.
And if I lose that money early on in retirement and I do it more than once, it becomes really easy for me to never be able to recover from that.
Right.
So we've got some reports, and I can show a sequence of returns, and I can take the exact same returns in a spreadsheet, and I can show them in one order on one side and one order on the other side. And I can use like 2000 through 2020, right? Because I get those first 3 years of market downturns in a row. They called it what they call the lost generation, or the lost decade. Lost decade. But I can mix. So I have one side that follows what the market really did with the market downturn, and then the other side I can mix it up anyway. And this side always has money left at the end, whereas this sequence of returns that happens early on in retirement, where I'm losing money over and over again while I'm withdrawing from that money. So all of a sudden, my 4% rule, if I lose 40% of my portfolio, becomes the 8% rule or the 7.5% rule, and my portfolio can't sustain that kind of spending and that kind of withdrawing while taking losses.
What's it, probably your last 10 years versus the other column, their money will last all the way down to probably 90 years old or something?
Or have money left to give to their children.
Or You know, it's amazing. So that's sequence of returns. That's why the principal protection plan, we call it, the fixed index annuity, is so important, right?
It is.
You're not going to lose. You won't go below zero.
It's the worst you can do.
Yeah.
And you know, another aspect of that is when you do have a zero, it's a good thing because you're investing in an index, right? You're allocating to an index. Well, if the market dropped, that index value dropped too. So when my contract anniversary date comes, I get to lock in at that. I get to start at that new low point and ride the market back up. So a zero isn't necessarily a bad thing. Right. I didn't earn money, but if my money was in the market, 9 times out of 10, I probably would have lost. You don't give back any gains. Right. So whatever you made before it went to zero, you keep those gains. And then you take off from there when it comes back. I get to ride that index value right back up.
Beautiful thing.
You know, my mom is, you know, she's in the market, but she's also got index annuities. And last year, her index annuities outperformed her managed money.
Isn't that amazing?
Not by a lot, but they did.
But it did, yeah. And she was safe, by the way.
She was.
She would never lose her principal.
She thinks they're the greatest things ever.
That's awesome.
She wants to put all of her money in. I tell her it's not appropriate to put all of her money in them, but she wants to.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, Rob, I'll tell you what, I really appreciate you coming out here today. I appreciate your insights, and I just want to thank you folks for tuning in with us, and we look forward to the next podcast that we have. And we just have a great evening, morning, wherever you are. Just have a great time and step in to your safe retirement. Thank you.